Alright guys, coming back from the dead, we're here to talk about a particular video series. What if Ash Ketchum was a regional champion? If you know me, I'm not one to stall, so let's go straight ahead and get straight to the rules. If you're experienced with this series, then go ahead and jump to the timestamp. The first is that this is an alternate canon, which gives me the excuse to alter anything that happened in the main canon of the anime. The second rule is that we're limiting the amount of starters to just one. We can make a more unique and spicier team this way, especially for this time. The last rule is that we'll ignore any character restrictions, which mainly ties to evolution, and that everyone will be fully evolved. Last thing are 3 topics that we go over here. 1 is their personality and how they stand out, 2 is their battle capability regarding if they suck or not, and finally is their unique characteristics in battle. Now we are on the same page, so without stalling any longer, let's get started.
Pokemon, get to theぜ!
Going off with an underwhelming start, we have Unpheasant. To get one thing out of the way quickly, let's discuss her personality. For those that were here last time, remember the original bird curse thing I mentioned? If not, the summary is that they have a bland character with the most relevant trait being that they can fly. And well, it sorta applies here. There's usually the one-off moments where she does show a glimmer of personality, but that's a common among Ash's birds. Moving on to a good note at least, Unpheasant has a nice moveset, one of the most unique compared to Ash's other birds. It has the generic aerial A's and quick attack sure, but its special attacks definitely stood out. Lastly is her battle capability, and surprisingly, it's okay. She shockingly got some work done when she needed to for a certain period. However, like many of Ash's mons, she takes a nosedive as the series progresses. Plus, she's one of the few to legit KO from Team Rocket, so that's kinda embarrassing. Despite all of this, Ash owning an Unpheasant, a female one at that, does add a little charm to the team, so she's not a regrettable choice. Next up is the second member, Scrafty. When I analyzed his personality, the first thing that came to mind was Ash's Corpfish. Not the sharpest tool in the shed, but quite ballsy if I do say so myself. This brash behavior was especially highlighted with his leer. Moving on to his battle capability, it was quite surprising considering this type of character doesn't usually prosper. Victory slipped within his grasp a few times, sure, but it's still shell-shocking how many times Scraggy didn't let Ash down. And lastly is his battle style, with Leer and Headbutt being his iconic moves. However, if we were to talk about what moves made Scraggy amazing, it'd definitely be his fighting type moves. Focus Blast is practically his ace in the hole, being one of the iconic I have a move but I can't really control it archetype. And there's High Jump Kick that was practically taught by a Scrafty, so that works. Speaking of Scrafty, I made Scraggy into one because, obviously the champion aesthetic, but Scrafty would be one of the few evolutions that could still carry on his old charms. Its moveset can stay relatively the same too, so there's nothing to lose. With all of those, Scrafty was an enjoyable pick. The third member to discuss is Galvantula. For those that's new, I like to improvise Pokemon that Ash hasn't even caught yet. The downside is that because there's less to make note of, these sections are more shoddily put together. To start off, let's talk about its characteristics in battle, and it's pretty easy actually. Its spider-like design makes moves like String Shot and Electro Web a perfect fit, and because it's an electric type, of course it needs Thunderbolts. Then there's its capability, and let's just say it's decent. It can come in clutch in some moments, but also fail in others. Lastly is its personality, and because there's not too much to say since Galvantula has a mostly expressionless design, let's keep things understandable. Let's say it's somewhat dim-witted, but when push comes to shove, it'll show a responsible side. But I do think all of these traits make Galvantula a good spot for this team. Getting to the fourth member, we have Darmanitan. Don't worry, this is the last improvised slot. Mostly. Looking at the mine, I definitely saw potential, especially since Ash has interacted with its prior evolution. In fact, that interaction will be the base for its personality. They were initially mischievous thieves, and while they did this for an important reason, I want to keep this trickster persona as a core trait, even past evolution. If anything, this is similar to Ash's Gengar, or at the very least, have him be a little chipper to give him a friendly aura. Anyways, as for its capability in battle, battle, it can be rather competent, cause why not? It'd be disappointing for such a higher energy Pokemon to just suck, you know? Lastly is his characteristics in battle, which is mainly in the physical approach. You know, head-on moves like Flame Charge or Flare Blitz. This could blend with its design, giving Darmanitan a brute force kind of guy within the team. And to have that mandatory special move, a standard flamethrower can do the trick, but with all of that, I can say Darmanitan was an interesting pick. As for the 5th member, we have Samurott. As of now, I'm rewatching the black and white anime, and when carefully analyzing all 3 of Ash's starters, Oshawott was definitely the star. Like seriously, especially in the beginning, the other 2 felt like afterthoughts. Plus, this little guy was the first starter captured and is from the lab originally, so this is a perfect selection regarding this series. As for his personality, he's boisterous yet arrogant, but is secretly righteous like any Ashmon. Sadly, this scummy personality allowed karma to strike regarding his battle capability. However, here's something I want to propose. Because final evolutions sorta mature compared to their prior ones, Oshawott would go through a growing process to become much more refined. This could be shown slowly with its evolution while also becoming a much more skilled battler, being the number 2 in this team. And lastly would be its characteristics in battle, and the main thing to keep note of is his shells. It was Oshawott's signature, what else can I say? Add in the heavy hitting Hydro Cannon and the generic Aqua Jet too, I guess. But to wrap things up, Oshawott's growth into a mature Samurott would be an excellent concept for this team. Lastly, it's the 6th member, and not surprising, it's Crocodile. This is clear as day for quite a few reasons, but to name 2, he was Pikachu's rival prior to capture, and he's quite literally the most capable member since becoming a Crocodile. That last statement is all I would have said about his battle capability even. He's so-and-so as a Crocodile, but I'm telling you, Crocodile specifically was unbeatable. Plus, his characteristics in battle are very intriguing. Outside of Dragon Claw, every other move Crocodile uses has some sort of coverage against Pokemon he's weak against. And the last thing to go on about is his personality. When it came to Ash's aces, Crocodile was definitely one of the more vibrant ones. He was proud and mighty with an extremely competitive side, and what even adds to this is his sunglasses. Not only did it add charm to his design, but his character as well, being the source of his confidence. So with Crocodile's overwhelming power, unique charm, he serves as the befitting ace of this team. But as of now, the team is finished. Going over to the squad, we have Unpheasant, the brash Scrafty, the dim-witted Galvantula, the mischievous Darmanitan, the refined Samurott, and the proud and mighty ace Sunglasses Crocodile. This team came out quite good in my opinion, and some honorable mentions would be Ash's Leavanny and Boldore. They only barely missed out on the team. Also, don't forget that I don't know how good or bad these teams are competitively. They will always be based on the anime's influence. Lastly is that Kalos will be next, and afterwards I'll focus on some other trainers, but that's pretty much all I got for now. Yep.
Do it now!